the kits here. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here and open this one. So if you have your Mathology kits, you can go ahead and grab them. Does that look okay? You guys can see it?
So.
Okay. I don't know if this is really gonna work. It's not ideal, and it's flipped upside down. There we go. That's me. So these kits were made by Pearson. They are fully in line with the same, like the Mathology.ca license that Division 2 has. And these were, if you were around in the first year of Div 1 new curriculum implementation, you might have chosen to have a Mathology.ca digital license. If that's the case, these came out after that. So a lot of teacher feedback was that there was too much printing, especially in the grade 1 and 2, so much printing, especially color printing. There's lots of color in here. Is this for this?
Yeah, maybe
There we go. Does that work? That's good. Yeah, that helps. Thank you. So there was lots of printing, and so Pearson went back to the drawing table and they created these kits that are printed. So these are 99% identical to the Mathology.ca digital license. I get a lot of questions saying, I want the license and the kit. These kits are the same. They're the same as the license. They have everything you need for the full year. They do make a grade 3 kit, but they didn't align it to Alberta curriculum. It was just, I think it was a little too tricky logistically. So they didn't make a grade 3 physical kit. They just made the grade 1 and the grade 2. These are great because most of the program is printed for you. And so they're grab and go, like they're pretty easy to use. And they're sustainable with the digital licensing. We have to pay, yearly to access a digital license for the grade 4 to 6. With these kits, these are a one-time purchase, and then you have it forever. So these are great. Most schools in Calgary Catholic have these now. So if your school is interested in purchasing the kits, then you can talk with your administrators if they want to purchase them, and they can go through procurement services to buy them for the school. They are really nice to have as a physical resource, and again, they're sustainable. I don't think our curriculum's going anywhere, and Mathology is not going anywhere anytime soon. So this is a good investment. I think they were about $700 for a grade, compared to a digital license, which is $400 a teacher. So this is definitely a bargain. Each kit comes with 2 boxes. So we have grade 1. There's 2 boxes. I just grabbed the number 1 here, but there's 2 boxes for grade 1, 2 boxes for grade 2. This grade 1 box is number. Here,
yeah,
and it's only number. That's how big the number organizing idea is. And the second grade 1 and 2 boxes, that's all of the rest of the curriculum. So half of the kits are the number strands, and then the rest is everything else. So 2 kits all together. And yeah, like I said, like 99% of the program is here. Well, maybe less. There's Blackline Masters that can be printed as well, but most of the program is here. And then I'll show you the digital online component. Well, if you don't have the kits, that's okay too. I'll show you some workarounds that we've come up with to make this accessible. So inside the kit, when you open it up, it'll be wrapped in plastic. So if your school still has them wrapped in plastic, then maybe today is actually a good day for it, to take everything out of the plastic and get it all organized. There's a book at the beginning that is an overview. And it took 15 minutes. What about you guys when you set them up?
Yeah.
10 minutes?
Yeah, 10, 15.
Yeah, everything comes in like one big block. So it's really just a matter of putting the cards in each of the tabs and just getting it set up to be ready to use. So about 15 minutes for both boxes is pretty standard. And actually, it's a really nice way to see the overview of the program and get a sense of it. So the first thing you want to do is set up your kit, and then there's some front matter in this book There's also a learning progressions book in here. These are in your schools. All schools have them. These came out with the new curriculum implementation, and this is a learning progression of how kids learn math. This was made by Dr. Lynn McGarvey at the U of A, and it goes through each concept in mathematics and what that progression is from the very beginning to all the way up. I believe the second book goes to grade 9. So this is the learning progression that Mathology, all of the Mathology products are based on. We don't have to know these things because our kits and our digital licenses are built on the foundation of this learning progression. So great for differentiation and great for building that conceptual understanding for students. So know that that's in here, but these are also in your schools if you want to have a wild Friday night, read about some math progressions. So that's the kit. Oh, I should also say that these are Alberta aligned. It'll say on the front Alberta edition. So you can trust that this is probably 98% aligned to the curriculum. There's always going to be some little nuances, but for the most part, if you're kind of going through this kit and teaching all of these concepts, you can be assured that you're meeting the curriculum for sure. So yeah, the grade 1 has the concepts here. You can go in this order. You can go in different orders. It's okay. I'm working on getting a printable for you. It didn't come through yet. So like another order that you could go in, but you could just go in this order and maybe sprinkle in some measurement and geometry and other things as you go, algebra or patterns or whatever. In the grade 2 kits, there's also a section at the back. I don't have it here, but there's a section for intervention as well. The grade 1 doesn't have intervention because it's too foundational, but the grade 2 has an intervention section with intervention cards at the back as well. So
in the daily math, they also have a daily math.
And the daily math in grade 2,
yeah,
but not in grade 1. Yeah, just a little bit different. So within each kit, there's these cards. So this is the very first card. You can see the organization. This is grade 1 and this is activity 1. This is the very, very first one. And so this card you would pull out. This is like your lesson plan, I guess. And you'd have this out on your desk and say, today we're going to work on counting to 20. So it has the focus here, how much time it's going to take. This says 45 to 50 minutes, and kids will be working in pairs. So for grade 1, a 45 to 50 minute lesson is probably a few days, right?
Break it into 2.
Yeah, break it into 2, break it into 3. It just depends on your students, but the activity doesn't necessarily mean the 1-day lesson. This is about 50 minutes worth of work, and it could be broken up over several days, especially if the students need more review. It also tells you the materials that you need. So this requires student card number 1, and then some manipulatives, pipe cleaners, beads, some masters, which I'll show you how to find. There's 5 different masters that you'll need for this one. And then it just goes through the instructions. So it tells you what to say and do, and how to consolidate it at the end of the lesson. I love these look fors, like what to look for in the lesson. Are students able to say the counting numbers in the correct order? Do students say one number for each bead counted? These build on those foundational numeracy understandings to ensure that students are picking up what you're putting down, as I like to say. And then I love these probing questions along the bottom. They're just easy to glance at. How did you keep track of your count? How do you know you counted all the berries? These are great questions to push the students' learning a little bit farther and give you some good ideas. So that's the lesson plan, and they are all consistent like this. They all look like this. I'll find an example kind of closer to the back. Here's financial literacy, I should say too. Yeah, it includes financial literacy, which aligns to the math curriculum because all the curriculums, grade 1 to 6, involve money in different areas, but also the PEW curriculum, the wellness portion, the financial literacy portion of our phys ed and wellness. You can use the Mathology kits to address that, but you'll see that the setup is very similar. You just grab the materials that you need and go. So this lesson requires student card number 1. So in my counting section, I'm going to go to the back because that's how I've organized it. And I'm going to look for student card number 1, which is right here. Right, so student card 1A, activity 1A. And this card you can give to the kids, and it's dry erase. The kids can write with a marker on it or put their counters on it, and then they do their lesson. I'll show you after how to find the Black Line Masters too, but this is the student card. The kits come with 10, I believe, 10 of each. So there's a spot that you can print more if you need more.
And remember, if your kiddos are a little tricky with handling things, remember you can always place them inside the page protector and continue using them.
Yeah, totally. Put it in a page protector and then it'll last even longer. But yeah, that's exactly it. So that's the card on the front. Anything else to add or any questions that have come up so far?
They're nice because they're like pretty, like they're very robust lessons, but really the only pre-planning you have to do is like reading through the lesson and then collecting the materials.
Yeah.
Everything else is like completely done. And then like, so it's set out like a typical lesson plan. So it has like an introduction and it really says like what to say in each of those pieces. So if you're not exactly sure how to introduce a lesson or something, it'll just say it, like ask the kids this, tell them this, see what they know about this. And then it kind of has like what to do during the lesson. Consolidation is to check for understanding. And then on the back would be like something that would talk about the assessment piece. So that's the other.
Yeah, the other good thing is because at the front, it tells you exactly how to organize it and how to do it. It will allow you also, to open for conversations, open for observations. There are different ways that you can use it. And it will help you also with taking notes of the students and learning about how is the progress going.
Exactly. Yeah. So every lesson has this assessment rubric on the back. These are also printable as a document you can write on, but it's nice that the lesson and the rubric are together. And most of them, for the most part, are a 6-point rubric that builds up this progression of skills that, again, is based on this progression of learning that comes with the kit. So we don't have to think about it. So as you're teaching the lesson, this rubric helps us to see if the kids are understanding and they are progressing in this concept. So we start with something very basic here in the first box, and it tells us some next steps about how to support this student. And this would be like a very foundational understanding, but if a kid is stuck here, then we can track that and we know that we need to support them with this skill before they can get to progress to the full understanding of the concept. So this goes up in really tiny increments until the final box. And for grade 1 and 2 and most of grade 3, there's a rubric for every single lesson, every card. So this rubric is just for this concept, this lesson. And this final box is like your AC, if we want to really generalize. This is when kids are getting it. This is when they have reached the goal or the mastery of that, the concept that's being developed in this lesson. So we want kids to get here, but this rubric allows us to see that point on the progression where maybe they're stuck. This is a great conversation piece for parents to say that I've seen evidence of this and this is what we're working on to get to mastery, and gives you that indicator of how to progress their learning. If most of the class is here, then maybe we can move on. Or if most of the class is stuck somewhere, then that's great formative assessment to keep going, maybe review the whole lesson or review pieces of the lesson to get the kids to this final place. So these are all embedded together, lesson and rubric, which is quite nice.
And Jessie, there's just a question about the little books. So do you maybe want to, if not right now, at some point, touch on how those two kind of work together?
Yeah.
Because they're two separate resources, but they do go together.
Yeah, good question. They both are Mathology products. The little books were sent to all schools. That's a resource that every elementary school got, and they are K-3. Those ones they do work really well with the Mathology kits. And there's a few different ways, I guess, that we could use them. The little books are a beautiful resource. They're really open-ended. There's suggestions for whole class teaching or small group or independent work. So that would be, I don't know, I guess it depends. Like it's kind of a choose your own adventure. I'll show you the little books in a second here. But really, if you're working on number, I don't know, I'm going to say something and you guys can disagree with me, but if we're working on counting and that the students do need a little bit of extra support, then maybe I will pull a little book on counting and add extra lessons in there to support that concept.
Also, you know, for some teachers who struggle how to initiate the math lesson or so on, the little books can be a great way to narrow it down and then just jump into this one. Some of the schools where I've been supporting, that's mostly what they do. They introduce with a math talk or a mini book, and then they will go through the lesson, because that way you narrow it down and you warm up for your math lesson.
Absolutely. There's great math talks in them. So use it before, use it during, use it after. That's a really robust resource. That the little books alone would be more than you could use in a year. So it's these two combined is more than anybody could ever use. You certainly won't get through all of them. I guess the biggest difference is the Mathology kits are aligned with the Alberta curriculum. So this one you don't have to think too much about. You can literally grab and go and know that this is aligned. The little books are a national curriculum resource. So they're not, just because it says it's a grade 3 book doesn't necessarily mean it's grade 3 curriculum. So there's a little bit of alignment you have to do with that, but great for differentiating too, if you do need to go down a level or two to support students in moving up. So good for our English as an additional language students. So they work really well together.
I'll put in the chat the links to the correlation guides that are on the website, and that shows the Alberta kind of outcomes, and then the lessons from the kits, and then also the little books that connect to those specific outcomes.
Perfect.
I'll put those in the chat so people can easily find them.
The little books are nice too, because that's a lifetime license. So every school received the actual kit. Those kits per school were about $6,000 per school. They're very robust. And then we have a lifetime digital license. It's not an individual teacher license. It's a school-based one. It's on EPD. You put in your school's username and a common password, and then you're in. So we'll always have it. Same with these kits. If your school has these, it's sustainable. We'll always have it. It's not like the digital licenses that, you know, may come and go. We hope not, but may come and go. Good question. Anything else so far? Should we get kind of specific here? Okay, I'm gonna pull. Oh, okay, I'm gonna pull this one. So grade 1 number, composing and decomposing equal groups, lesson 17. I went through and found some interesting lessons that we can look at today. So if you have the grade 1 full lesson 17, which is right here, lesson 17. This is number, composing, and decomposing equal groups. What's nice about it too, I lost it, but there's a today's lesson tab, which I should have put in there. And so when I pull it out, I can just stick this green tab in there, and then I know exactly where I pulled from, so I don't have to do what I'm doing right now. Which is, okay, that's good enough. I can just put that in there, and then I know how to find it. So this lesson is about equal groups. The big ideas are, it's related to number and quantity, but also a little bit of equal share and even fractions in grade 1, the fractions of half. So it goes through what I need. I need some linking cubes, and I need a couple masters for this one. This lesson will take 45 to 50 minutes, and students need to be in pairs. And there's a lot to read here. And so I'm busy, I'm planning for tomorrow, and this is a lot to read. So how can I do this more efficiently? How can I get myself ready for tomorrow? I'm going to stop sharing and change back to my computer here. And then I'll show you the online portion that's brand new. And, oh, it's not going to let me. Shoot. Okay, hold on one second. I have to change my sound settings, of course. Teams can't just be. Okay, here we go. You guys can see it okay? Okay, so I'm on the elementary math EPD site, and I'm going to go to the Mathology classroom kits page. So instructional resources right here. And then we want to click on the Mathology classroom kits. I always write if things are updated. So I say that I've updated grade 1 and 2 classroom kits on, no, I didn't update it there. It's on the main page. Okay, so this is the Mathology Classroom Kids page. Everything related to this product is on this page. And the new piece are these folders, these 4 folders. So this is English and French, this resource. And I'm going to go into grade 1 English. And then what I've done is I've gone into the digital license, the Mathology digital license, and I've pulled everything, all of the Blackline masters, the rubrics, everything that would be needed for this product so that it's online. I know I've had some feedback where people have said, I need to plan at home because I'm sick. I have a sub tomorrow and I wish I had my kit at home, but I don't have it. Now you have everything at home. It's exactly the same as the kit. Everything has been pulled off of the digital license, so you can access it at home. So we're in number and we're in composing and decomposing numbers, and lesson 17, equal groups. Okay, and then I open up this folder, and what we have here is the exact same card, the printable. So if you do need to access this at home or one card went missing, you can easily print it. And then, of course, the rubric on the back, it's exactly the same. So easily accessible and printable if one is missing and you need another one, or you're planning from home. These are the Blackline masters. So the card says we need number 41 and 42. Well, here we have master 41 and master 42. So master 41 looks like this. This is like a printable graphic organizer for the students to work on if you needed that. And then the master 42 is the same as the rubric, but this is a more, like, there's no color on this one, and this one gives a little bit of space for observations or documentation. So like, I've worked with teachers who print this and put it on a clipboard and maybe jot kids' names down. Some teachers will make one for every student. That's a lot of paper, but if that's what works in your space, then that's totally fine. Have you guys seen anything?
I think the teachers that I've worked with have like specifically printed out like one for a kid that's on an LSP, for example.
Oh, okay.
And it's like really helpful in like providing evidence for like if you need, you know, assessments or if you need like psych ed, whatever. Like that can be really helpful, but then do like the whole, like one for the whole class and then one for like maybe 2 or 3 students that they need to like pay special attention to.
I had to turn my speaker off. Could you hear Cassandra okay? She's talking like that. If not, she said sometimes a teacher will print one for the class and then a couple extras. You got it? Perfect. Good. For some students, you're kind of watching a little closer. So this is exactly the same as the one on the back of the card, but this one is easier to print. But this is the real gem. So in most of these, almost all, I would say we're at like 90% of the lessons, Mathology has made videos, and these videos are like typically 1 minute, sometimes less, and they are a quick little explainer video. These are meant for you. These are meant for the teacher. They're not for the students, and they just give us a general idea of what this lesson is about without us having to sit and read this whole thing. So what I find is that if I watch the video, 60-second video, then I go to read this, I already understand what we're doing and what I'm looking for, and it makes reading this way faster. So I'm going to play this video. Again, this is the composing and decomposing numbers and making equal groups, and this is what this lesson entails. I'm going to press play here. Hopefully this works okay.
Have students share the different ways they were able to arrange 18 cubes into towers of equal height, with and without leftovers. For arrangements where there are leftover cubes, discuss why they cannot be used to make another tower. Then, as a class, look at the patterns in the results recorded. Do students notice that as the towers get taller, they can make fewer towers? Then, have students share their ways when arranging 20 cubes. Do they recognize that the total number of cubes is the same no
Okay, so oops, that one was super quick. That was
Have
only
students share
36 seconds to watch that one. And it gives us a really quick overview of what this lesson is about and what
we're looking for as the teacher? What are those skills, or what are those concepts that we want students to be able to understand? And now when we go in and read the lesson, it's super quick to read because we for almost all of them have that little video. That's pretty cool. That's something, Pearson said, these kits are exactly the same as what's online, but these kits don't have those videos. And I think those videos are essential. I think that's going to be a game changer. So yeah, I'm really excited. We're really, really excited to see these videos.
Helpful and for a teacher to reflect on a lesson that they've done, ask, do they notice that the blocks stay the same? And so it's just a helpful assessment piece to reflect on, did they know that when I finished my lesson? No, maybe I got to do it again. Maybe we should revisit that idea. Maybe we should point that out specifically. So I find whenever I watch a video, I'm like, oh, that's the point.
That's the point.
And
yeah.
Get to the meat of it. And maybe you have to redo just the meaty part of the lesson. You don't have to redo the opener or the consolidation or whatever. Just redo the meat part of the lesson.
Yeah. The other great thing is, in 30 seconds, maybe a minute, you get the whole idea of what the lesson is covering, to which extent do you need to reach, what connections do you need. It literally gives you the full picture of the lesson. So I find it easier for many teachers, and many teachers have mentioned that you watch that for a minute and you read the instructions and it makes way more sense. Even if you're not that familiar to which extent the curriculum goes, this helps you really, really well.
Yeah, so these videos are cool. I'm going to show you a couple others. Are there any thoughts or questions, or are there woot woots in the chat? I'll take a woot woot.
We need more.
I'm going to put this back. I put my today in the wrong spot just to be quick.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to show you a grade 2. We've been living in grade 1 land for a little bit. I'm going to go back. We can go all the way back here to the EPD page. And again, we have grade 2. There's also French, right? This also comes in French. The grade 2 French, there's not always a French video. It says they're still working on the French version, but there is still a video. It's just not all of the videos are in French. But again, this is for the teacher, not for the student. But the grade 1s, they're pretty much all in French, which is cool. Okay, in grade 2, I'm going to pull up geometry and geometric relationships. And again, this all just follows the same sequence as the boxes, which is really cool. And then number 9, visualizing shapes. So here's everything that comes with this lesson. So again, we have the card if you want to see the card. If you're at home, this is 90 minutes to 100 minutes. So this is definitely going to take more than a day. This is probably several lessons. There's a few resources we need here: geoboards, elastic bands, 2D shapes, 3D solids, building materials, and then 2 different blackline masters. Kids are going to be working in pairs. And again, lots of text. So I'm going to watch first before I dig into what this lesson is about. You'll see the blackline master that's printable here, and then our printable rubric of what we're looking for. And it looks like I made a copy of the video by accident, but that's okay. Some of the lessons also have a photo of what you're looking for, because sometimes I know it's get geoboards on elastic. It's what was the geoboard again? What was that? So sometimes there'll be a picture. Again, this is for you as the teacher, just to see what you need. And so for those of you who are more visual and need that visual piece to speed up the planning and prep for your lessons, it's so nice to have these photos. Not all of them have it, but most. I'd say most of them have a photo. So visualizing shapes and solids. We're working on 2D shapes and 3D solids that can be analyzed and classified in different ways by their attributes. I'm going to play this video for you so you can see what this lesson is about.
Listen as students describe the chosen shape in the bag. Do they use attributes and language that help distinguish it from other shapes? It has 4 sides. It has 4 square corners. It has 4 equal sides. It's a square. To consolidate, discuss what attributes were most helpful and the role visualization played for both partners in identifying, describing, and creating the shape. For those students who would benefit from support on constructing structures with 3D solids and describing solids used, refer to Intervention Activity 6.
Hey, what do you notice about this lesson? That looks like fun, hey?
Someone just said thank place of easier, and the videos are fabulous.
The videos are amazing, right? Like I was so impressed with these. And you're right, I perfectly said, I think it does make it way less overwhelming to watch a 60-second video about what this lesson is about. Just brings things back to earth a little bit and like, okay, I can do that. That's easy. I know what I need to go find in the resource room. I can do this. The grade 2 kits have intervention lessons. You saw that piece at the end. That's the one piece I haven't put into the folders yet because they're not, I have to go look in the digital license again. So those aren't there yet, but they are in the kits. We're trying to find a grade 2.
She found it. She's
he found it. Okay, Sandra's bringing us a grade 2 so I can show you the intervention pieces, but the grade 2 has the extra slot or extra cards that are in the back, I believe, of the grade 2, and it will tell you in the video and on the card which intervention cards you might want to pull out for students who need that extra little bit of support. Oh yeah.
Oh, you got both.
She got both. They might they're a little bit more aligned with the grade 1 curriculum, and they're built on that progression of learning again. So you can lean on the resource to go backtrack the concept. Oh, you are amazing. Here's everything. Here's the grade 2. It's nice and cold. It's in your car. Ooh. There we go. Perfect. And then
at the end, no, at the beginning you have the intervention.
Beginning. Oh yeah, here it is. So the intervention cards look like this. I don't know if that shows up on my camera. I can turn the document cam on again.
They're yellow. That's like
Yeah, they're yellow, and there's like for this whole box, it looks like there's quite a few. For this is everything but number. There's like this many intervention. Oh, they can't see it. Sorry, like this. They see that? I'd have to change my whole.
Yeah.
That's not on right now. Anyways, it's a lot. There's a lot of intervention cards in here for those students that that need a little bit of extra support to get there. And they're structured exactly the same way, but they're very simple. And the back also has a rubric to see if they're getting to that point where they're ready to tackle some of the concepts in the lesson that this intervention card aligns to. So this is a little bit pre-rubric for the grade level lesson, just to get the kids where they're. Have you guys used these in classrooms? Not yet? No? If anybody out there has used these, let us know.
People are mentioning that they can barely see.
No,
They can barely see, I know.
Their view, because they're seeing your presentation.
Oh, they're seeing my,
Yeah, your
Okay.
members.
it's worth it. Let's do it. I know, sorry.
Yes, we have someone seems to have used them.
Now this isn't gonna look. But yeah, the grade 2 has this. These are not in the folders yet online, so I still have to do that. It's on my to-do list. There's a post-it note on my desk. We'll get those downloaded. So that's the only, it's not working. I don't know what's going on here. That's the only piece that is missing from the digital license. Yes, we'll work on that. So that's the online piece.
Someone is saying in the chat, these are great for when I introduce new content.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially depending on the makeup of your class, you might want to start with intervention. And maybe even September, grade 2 teachers just work through some of those intervention pieces just to get everybody, do some formative assessment of where kids are at and get everybody where they need to be. There's really no rules about how to use this. And that's part of the beauty of it, is that it's structured enough that it gives teachers, you know, something to do every single day for the whole year. but open-ended enough that you could bring your teaching style and your you know, have your kids, your specific students live within it in some way. It's very flexible, which is
It
great.
also, like, notes a couple common things that kids are missing. And so sometimes you might have a kid and they're not progressing lessons, hit or target like common things that are missing for kids. And so those would be a good place to start, to go through a couple of them with that one kid that, you know, isn't progressing, and then it would help narrow down, oh, they know this, but they don't know this. And so it kind of helps you figure out what they're missing, because sometimes that's hard to figure out.
It works again. Yeah, exactly. It just gives you that like extra little, oh yeah, moment, I guess, right? Like I didn't think of that, or, oh, I should look for that. Now this is upside down. Hey, we did it. Now you can see it, right? Here's an intervention card. So this about skip counting. So again, it's grade 2. This is the 3rd intervention activity. Oh, a little out of order, probably my fault. Finding the pattern core, representing patterns. So yeah, you can certainly work through these. Repeated addition and subtraction, that's great. 2, exploring 10. So you can certainly work through these, or you can align them with the lessons as you go, but there's a ton. This is whole chunk is just intervention cards. So lots there. I'm curious if anybody out there uses it for like DLs. If there's, I know some DLTs do some pull-out groups with students. This would be good for grade 2 and 3, probably, I would say. Or if EAs ever work with any of these too, if there's something that an EA could work through with students, this would be a really good, I don't know. There's lots of different ways. It's very flexible.
When there's small groups for intervention, you can do one-on-one if you have a student who really needs it. You can think about pull-outs, you can think about DL. There are multiple ways to use them.
Lots of different ways. You'll see this is the kit with all of the everything but number. So it's like everything else. So everything's color coded. It's pretty easy to sort through. So you can jump around and maybe do some measurement or time or patterns or something interspersed with all of the number that we have to do. So that's the physical kit and the online one. Can I show you one more? Is that okay? I want to show you this other one that's really cool. This one made me like, I watched them all as I was downloading them, and this one made me go, oh, it's in time. It's in grade 2. The grade 1 time is really good too, but I like this grade 2 one. So we're in measurement. Time is in measurement, and we want time and temperature. And this one is number 10, measuring time. So this starts in days of the week, months of the year, and then talks about like the duration of time, measuring time, and then it goes into the winter count. There's, I should say too, I'll click on this one first. There's a lot of Indigenous connections in here, and you'll see that there's no video for this one, and the rubric is a little bit less robust than the other ones. When you see this, this is an indication that this is not part of the national curriculum. Like they didn't curate this piece. They actually handmade this for Alberta's curriculum. So there's not a ton of these, but quite a few where there's some sort of nuanced concept. Like, for example, the winter count that is in Alberta's grade 2 curriculum that Mathology has gone and made an actual card for that the other provinces don't have. So that's how aligned with our curriculum this actually is. And the First Nations connections, from what I've seen, are quite local. There's even some videos in here, links to videos that they've curated for us to help support this concept. So that's just a little tip. If you don't see the video and it looks a little different than the other ones, that's probably one that Pearson has made. I'm going to go back to this duration of time. Nope, measuring time, number 10. This lesson is so cool. I want to do this. If you guys are doing this, call me. I want to come. So this one is about measuring time, and so they need some string and like a bead, like a pony bead or something, some sort of weight and tape, and then a few different blackline masters and the assessment. And what we're working on is that that time is something that can be measured and compared, which is a really abstract concept and probably tricky for kids to learn. And when I watched this video and looked through this lesson plan, I thought, oh, we can teach that. That's so cool. So watch this one about how we can measure time.
Practice using the pendulum as a class. Hold the top of the pendulum, pull the beads to one side, then let go. One swing is from side to side and back again. One. Discuss why it is important for everyone to use it the same way so that the measures can be compared. For example, a full swing varies depending on the point where the beads are released. Pendulum at the same time as the activity starts. To consolidate, discuss how different students might take different times to do the same activity. For example, drawing a tree might take 2 swings or 20 swings, depending on the level of detail.
Isn't that fun?
That is a good.
I thought that was a really cool lesson because I never thought about how you would actually teach students how to measure it other than a clock. Like we just think measure time, clock, but how can we actually build that concept in students' heads and how can we get them to take ownership of that measurement piece and understand that time is something that can be measured. It's not just about that weird circle on the wall that I don't understand,
They
right?
can experiment it by themselves.
Yeah.
It's hands-on. It's really good.
I love the idea. Here's the visual that comes with it of having students do a task and then measuring. I can see extending for some students that are flying with it and getting them to try different tasks, putting your boots on or
Different measurement units.
yeah,
elements.
lots of cool things you can do to measure time. And I can see this scaling up and down really well too. Same with our English language learner students. Really good way to communicate and talk in math language. And then there's some masters here and some, oh yeah, look, get a drink, take your shoes off and put them back on. How many swings? Do 5 jumping jacks. Say the alphabet. What about say the alphabet backwards? It would be a lot of swings for me. So that's the online portion that's brand new. My battery's dying. Do you have a,
Yep.
can I steal
Well,
yours?
If it reaches.
Might not reach, I'll shift over. That's okay. This is how it goes. So that's the online portion that's brand new. I'm so excited to hear. Any questions? I haven't looked at the chat in a while. Thank you. That worked perfect. Okay.
Something I think I notice a lot is that in these lessons, they don't all necessarily require the master. So like some teachers might be worried about like so much printing, but for example, like the pendulum one, you don't have to print that out. Like you could just put them up. There's lots of them that like the masters is more of like an extension or like a practice activity. But so many, especially if it's to look at lessons, like they're there. Like you don't. They're hands-on. Mostly you don't have like a written piece to produce from it. And that's where the assessment piece comes in, like that piece on the back, because it just helps you gear your conversations and your observations towards your lesson to figure out where kids are at and what they have produced, I guess. So I thought that was interesting that you don't always like sometimes, for example, I did one that has dominoes. And most schools have dominoes, so I was able to find them. But if you can't find dominoes, there was like a printable version of dominoes.
Right.
So
Yes.
they have like the one that you showed with the the geo board. It's like those were pictures of it, but you don't necessarily have to print that off if you have the geo board. So
Right.
there are ways to do it with and without the materials if you can't find the materials.
Yeah.
Almost all of them have like something, and you can like if it says popsicle sticks, but you have like something else, like those things are not so picky or particular, but it's mostly just like the concept or idea that you should pull from it.
Yeah, I love that. And then those printables are there if you need them.
Exactly.
You can't find the dominoes, right?
You need them,
That's
you
great.
print them. If not, leave them there.
The other feedback I've been getting is like for addition subtraction that, oh, there's not enough, like there's not, and so like that's the instruction, but then the repeated practice can happen like throughout the rest of the year, right? Like, or you repeat that same lesson, or you go to like grade 2, the math every day, right? There's a lot of like stuff for those operational facts that you want to kind of build. It seems like there's not enough when you look, it's like, oh, there's not a worksheet attached, but there's ways to kind of navigate that with additional kind of practice that you can just kind of build in.
Absolutely. And the little books too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
that's what I was thinking.
ton of addition and subtraction in the little books to weave that in as well. So if you needed that extra practice, but you're right, this is more of the lesson, but you can continue.
In some of
Oh,
the
ongoing.
following lessons might allow you to embed some of the things that you have previously taught
100%.
and just continue building it up according to the kid's speed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it may seem like it's one lesson because it's one card, but really it's 3 or
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
lessons. So you feel like, oh, it's only one card for this, but you're like, no, you did this over a whole week
Yeah.
worth of
Yeah.
math.
And
Yeah.
also remember, even if it says, 30, 45 minutes, it can be 2 days, it can be 3 lessons, depending on your kids, you know them better than anyone. So just make sure that you adjust it according to what they need.
So flexible.
Yep.
That's great. Okay. I'm going to keep going, but if you have questions or whatever, let me know. I just put some, I'm just thinking about triangulation of assessment and thinking about how we can support all learners. I love this visual because it really shows that, assessment can look different for every student. And I feel like the Mathology kits, because they are so hands-on and based in really conceptual learning, that they really lend themselves to products, observations, and conversations. There are products that students make. There are Blackline Masters. You can take photos of students' work. They could write in their visual journal instead of on the Blackline Master, for example. There's a lot of products that you can get from this. But these rubrics that have the, so I choose one that doesn't have a rubric. These rubrics that come with the program are so good for observations and conversations, because those students who might not be able to express their learning on paper can still be assessed for their learning, because we're looking at their understanding, not what they're able to produce. That's so foundational for grade 1. So thinking about our new assessment AP 360 and how this all aligns with what assessment looks like in Calgary Catholic, this product couldn't be more aligned with the AP. It really does lend itself to that work, and hopefully take some of that pressure off of always having a product. I can see such rich conversations with families using this rubric. This actually probably tells a parent better where their child is and what they're working towards, and how you're supporting them than a test or something.
Well, and it can also guide it's the data that guides your instruction, right? So if you do an activity, you've assessed, and most of your class is in one of those like blocks, well, then maybe the next lesson is taking that next step and doing that as a whole class to help move them, right? So again, you're kind of using that data to guide your instruction.
Yeah,
just so powerful.
The other thing that you can use is with a lot of these materials. Remember, if you ask your students to do a simple, think, pair, and share, just by doing the activity, you can do an observation and you can listen to a conversation. So you're already doing assessment, not necessarily like fully into assessment, just a regular observation and conversation while they are working. And you're getting your marks and you're getting your idea for a more 360 idea.
And for people who don't know what they're supposed to be observing or what they're supposed to be asking in terms of conversations, like that assessment on the back literally says what to observe in each one of those. And it also at the front, the probing questions is literally what to ask or what they should say.
It actually says in here, ask the student how many cubes are in the first term. Have that student take that many cubes and use them to build term 1. And then continue the conversation.
That's an
So
observation.
it's very
That's an observation and a conversation.
That right.
Yeah.
You have to think about it.
It's all done. Exactly. Okay, so that's the product. I want to talk a little bit about resources in general and how we choose resources to teach math, and how we can use the resource to support not only students like deep learning, but also our assessment. So like I said, this is just a reminder that this is all on the EPD page under instructional resources, Mathology classroom kits, and everything is in here. This recording is also going to live on this page. So if your friends and colleagues want to watch this, it will live there. And English and French are both there. The kits are English and French. So this is a great resource. We have this in most of our schools. Pearson made this specifically for Alberta. It's great, but this is not the curriculum. And that's really important, right? We don't teach resources, we teach the curriculum. And so even though this is a resource that does align with our Alberta curriculum, like 98% or whatever, if we want to generalize, this is not the curriculum. And at the end of the day, we teach the curriculum. Our model in Alberta is outcome, and in Calgary Catholic is outcomes-based assessment. So we assess and report on the learning outcome. So here's a grade 2 learning outcome. Students investigate addition and subtraction within 100. That's what students have to be able to do. The key word here, the verb in that outcome, is investigate. What does investigate mean? If you're investigating at the scene of a crime, somebody said this to me the other day, you're investigating a crime. Are we solving the crime, or are we digging in and finding all the evidence? Right? And uncovering things and discovering things and discussing things. So in grade 2, students need to investigate addition and subtraction within 100. Then we look at some of these cusps that, and this is what drives us toward that learning outcome, these skills and procedures, and then of course the knowledge and understanding that come from doing that work drive us toward that learning outcome. So even as we're working through something like Mathology, these I should make this full screen, sorry. These skills and procedures give us the what to do. And so even if we lean on a resource like this most of the time, try and come back to your curriculum every once in a while just to keep yourself aligned and ensure that we are actually teaching the curriculum. Now, there's a lot of math resources out there. There's probably more there definitely is more for math than any other subject. And so with the curriculum implementation, there was a bit of choice about what resources we chose. Now, back 4 years ago when Division 1 was implemented, not all of these resources were around or aligned. And there's a pretty rigorous process that Calgary Catholic goes through in order to choose resources. And I want to share that with you today, just so that you have a bit of a sense of why this one was chosen. You'll see some of the other great resources that are available in Alberta. I know like CBE uses Math Up. I've done a demo of it. It's pretty awesome. There's cool videos in there too. It's a pretty solid resource. It wasn't ready. And so CBE took a bit of a risk with Math Up and it paid off. It's a great resource, but Mathology was more ready. So we went with them. But Jump Math is finally aligned this year, but their teacher guide is not ready. This is the first year that they've actually aligned. Dynamic Math is brand new. They've released brand new resources. Edwin is another one. Like there's a ton of resources. So how do we choose these? What is the process? Well, first and foremost, we look at curriculum alignment. And when we look at curriculum alignment, it's not just, does it say Alberta on it, right? This one says Alberta edition. How do we know? And so, I meet very often with the Pearson team, a few times a month actually, and we talk about these things. And if there are some issues with curriculum alignment, I bring that up to the team. They come back to me. We're always in constant communication about improving this product and this alignment. When you buy a vetted quality resource, it will be aligned to the curriculum because it has to be, right? Districts pay a lot of money for that resource. There are products that can be purchased on Teachers Pay Teachers that say that they're aligned with the curriculum, and they are not. And I want to show you some examples of that today. So just because it says it's aligned with the curriculum does not mean that it actually is. We have to go deeper than that. I live and breathe the math curriculum every day. So if you want to email me something and just ask, I'm not sure, can you check the curriculum alignment? I can do it pretty quick. Same with the DLITs. If they're at your school, ask them to check because just because it says it doesn't mean that it's true. A quality vetted resource can't lie. So they have to say it's aligned or it's not aligned, just like the little books are not aligned to the Alberta curriculum, but they've created alignment guides. The classroom kits are aligned. So be careful of that. Not everything is true. It has to be developmentally appropriate. And when we look at this consideration, we consider things like the CRA model, concrete, representational, and abstract. Does the resource allow students the opportunity to live in the concrete, to be able to touch and manipulate and experience the learning, or does it go straight to numbers? We know there's students in grade 1 and 2 that see the digit 4 and don't know what that is. And so how do we build that learning from a concrete lens towards their total understanding and deep understanding of that concept? Of course, we look at the student experience. Is it engaging? Do students enjoy it? We look at things like diversity. A few considerations here. We have 8 French immersion schools and elementary French immersion schools and 3 Spanish bilingual schools. Spanish is hard. Spanish is really hard to find, but we need to make sure that we have equity, especially between our English and French schools. And so any resource that we purchase has to be aligned with both English and French. And we always consider our English as an additional language students. We know that there are students in every single classroom in our district who require support with English language. And so that is a major consideration. And of course, our Catholic lens with everything that we do. Other considerations are things like how accessible is it? How usable is it? And does it align with inclusion policies? For example, we found in the first year of implementation in Div 1 that the digital Mathology license was not that accessible. There were a lot of teachers that said it's way too much printing, it's hard to navigate. We went back to the table with Pearson and they created these. So that accessibility piece is a major consideration. Of course, the cost is a big one. Resources are so expensive, especially print ones. So is this a sustainable product? Is this something that can live in schools for a long time? A high quality resource was vetted by multiple teachers. This resource was vetted by teachers all over Alberta, all over Canada. It was field tested in classrooms and gone back to the drawing board. Teachers are responsible for making this resource. It wasn't just one person at Pearson who made it. It really was vetted.
Actually, I reviewed some.
Oh, you some of the review.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And you gave feedback on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Detailed feedback.
Yeah. Good point. That's great. Yeah. And then, of course, if it's a digital resource like Mathy Adventure or Mattific, we always need to get IT approval. We have to make sure that student data and safety is maintained. And sometimes they say no. They say this is not a safe product. We can't use this. In the case of Mathy Adventure and Mattific, it was approved by IT. So there's lots of things that we consider as we choose resources. And that's a little bit about why we chose this. Now, I try and look at everything that's out there. We know these are our good quality vetted resources, but there are also products that are purchased that we know are in lots of schools. This one I bought this teacher's tea about a year ago, and I want to show you the difference, knowing everything that we know now, show you some of the differences. So again, this is grade 2. I know lots of us are in the addition and subtraction world right now, so this one might be quite relevant. I pulled this one out of the pack, but the outcome asks us to verify a sum or a difference using inverse operations. And this is the slide. There are 350 slides or something for this one concept. And this is the slide for inverse operations. Now, while it does say inverse operations in the curriculum, when we're thinking about student appropriateness and building that concrete representational abstract, is it best practice to just start with a definition that's very wordy? A lot of grade 2s will not be able to read the words inverse operations. Do students even need to know this word? Or can we give them a series of experiences to understand what verifying sums and differences using inverse operations is? If you see, like, the next few slides are just text, tons and tons of text. So right off the bat, this is going well above curriculum, grade level curriculum, in terms of not only reading, but also the concept. Kids don't have to know this, and is not accessible for our EAL learners. Another piece is the associative properties. See in the curriculum how it's in brackets. If something is in brackets, that's an indicator to the teacher of what it is, but we don't have to teach it. But of course, this resource gives a big page full of text about the associative property. Please don't teach this to students. This is actually, well, it's well above grade level. I want to say, I might be wrong. If there's Div 2 people, you might be able to poke a hole in this. For sure, grade 5. I want to say grade 5.
Grade 4 is associate property.
Grade 4.
That is for sure.
So this is not developmentally appropriate for students. It's well above grade level. This is not a word grade 2 students need to know. And so right off the bat with this, I wouldn't even call this a resource. This is a product. This is not aligned to the curriculum. This is several years above curriculum. It's not inclusive. It's not supportive of our EAL learners. And there's too much text and not enough experience. So right off the bat, what does he say on That show? That's a no from me, dog.
I don't know.
What's his name? I don't know. Somebody knows. This is another example. This is grade 2. And we have the standard algorithm here. They do not have to know the standard algorithm. I believe that the words standard algorithm don't even show up until grade 5. So they don't have to even know these words, and addition and subtraction certainly don't have to be done using a standard algorithm. This is not conceptually appropriate. If we look at the curriculum, first of all, it says that the sum should go to 100, like within 100. We're already over 100 here. And they are investigating strategies. So we should be looking at strategies, not just straight to an algorithm. This is grade 5 curriculum. If students are not able to do this in grade 2, that is expected and could actually cause a lot of harm if students are exposed to this. This is definitely too hard for grade 2. We can certainly enrich in a lot more conceptual ways as well. So well above curriculum, they don't need to be doing this. This is also a no from me. What is that show called where the singers?
Oh,
Simon
American
Cowell.
Yeah.
America's Got, no.
America's Got Talent.
America's Got
Yeah.
Talent. Canada's Got Talent.
Yeah.
American Idol. Thank
So
you.
this is all to say that I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but you know, when we choose a resource as something that can support curriculum and teaching, we really do look for those student experiences. Does the resource start in the concrete? Does it have students actually touching and holding manipulatives, touching the math, experiencing the math, and playing and manipulating with the math? We know that starting with concrete with every new concept is how students learn. This is based in a progression of learning math, which really incorporates that concrete. We then move to representational, which I know a lot of like worksheets and booklets and stuff will often start in representational, but often they actually start in the abstract. And I know kids in grade 1 and 2 that don't know what the digits are yet or don't know the value of it. And so it's just starting much too high. So here's some examples. These come from the little books, but you can see how the little books are really conceptual. They're really about asking deep questions, about having the math be hands-on and exploratory. Like if we're gonna, I think the best birthday was half. Yeah, can you share your ribbon in a different way? Can you make it fair? Like how do you know that each part is a fair share? And you can use all these different tools to divvy out fair shares. So the little books, the Mathology products, they really do build that in. And that whole list of resources I showed you before, they really do start in that concrete phase and move into representational and abstract when students are ready. In grade 1 and 2, it's so foundational that there's very little of the abstract. We're really living in concrete representational land and abstract if students are ready for it. I've talked a lot. My voice is sore. Any thoughts, Delets? Any questions in the chat? Any gems that?
Yeah.
American Idol. Thanks, Erin. I see the questions about Boxcars games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've been working on trying to get the Boxcars game, any kind of games into the long range plans. That's a big project. There's so many games, there's so many concepts. But yeah, Chelsea, I hear you. That's a great idea. Some of these do have games on the lesson,
Yes.
especially for things like you mentioned doubles. There are some games within the lessons, but the Boxcars ones go a lot farther too. So that's a good point.
To our to-do list.
Add it to the to-do list.
Then
Let's
we
make
get
another
to-
post-it. Okay, anything else? Any gems from today? I know there were probably a lot. I feel like those videos are just such a game changer. Like I get it, learning a new resource is hard work. We don't want to be jumping resource to resource. We've really committed to this one. And actually with the new curriculum in junior high, they're also piloting Mathology in junior high. So for those of you at a K-9 school, the hope is to be a K-9 Mathology school. And so we have consistent language and consistent learning and learning experiences for our students through their whole duration at your school. So it's a big piece.
You have the evidence to show.
Yeah, that's right. Like the screener data is showing that this really does support with the comparing numbers, counting number lines, and then the PATs as well are really well supported with this program, because it's just getting us actually into the curriculum and some of the nuances of the curriculum, where sometimes we read some of these outcomes and we're like, what does this mean? How do I teach this? What do I do? Leaning on a high quality resource is going to help us to learn the curriculum really deeply.
The other thing is, with those activities, you basically have everything in there, even if you don't have the knowledge, because you have the materials, you have the explanation, you have the assessment, you can triangulate just by seeing what they are doing, listening to their conversations. So instead of having to figure out how to use a worksheet or something, I feel like in here you have everything in one. You see the video, you know what you're doing, you know what you're assessing, you know what you're targeting, you have everything. You allow the conversations, and you can even triangulate with it.
Absolutely.
All in one.
Absolutely. Those of you who don't have the kits at your schools, you do have the online piece. Try it a little bit, but see what you think of it. But if you don't have the kits in your school, talk to your administrator, because they really are sustainable. It seems like a lot of money, but in a school scale of issue, it's, I don't know why this isn't opening. It really, like, there typically are ways to find the funding to be able to support it, and $700 for it to be there forever is a lot more sustainable than buying digital licenses every year like Div2 has to do. So try it on the online, but we really recommend purchasing the kits so that you have them forever. Make sure they get cataloged so they don't grow legs and leave your school. And certainly, like, you or your administrators could reach out to myself or the DLITs or Charlotte Smith if they have questions about it, because it's really good. Yeah, Charlotte, thank you. Request money from school council to purchase them. So we're at, like, I don't know, 80% of schools probably have them at this point, or sell freezies, yeah, or popcorn. Exactly. Crazy's popcorn. It's definitely doable. We've had quite a few purchases this year from schools. So at least you can try it now with the online piece. I think the printing still is just prohibitive. And so having the actual printed kits is really gonna support.
I think
Yeah.
that's like a big thing. It's like having the online piece that you've made on EPD also helps. If you open the Mathology kit for the first time, it would help you go lesson by lesson, making sure what's together. Like when I pull these apart, I know what lesson goes with what card. Yeah. And it's pretty self-explanatory, but you could just double check that you have all those pieces. And I've seen teachers who started to they have like a Monday through Friday bin for like Mathology for their math lessons. And they just
oh my gosh, so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the other good thing is, if you've never been exposed to this kind of materials or something, start with the digital, get your feet wet this year. Let's see, maybe for next year, that is a conversation that you can have with your admin. Because if you find a really value in those resources, maybe that is a conversation that you can have with your admin.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to stick around for a couple minutes. Thank you for joining us today. If you have questions or thoughts. Oh, thanks, Vicky. I know you guys have a whole crew there watching together, right?
Yeah. Hey,
Hi, Saint
again.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, if you have any questions, let us know, but this is all done. I'm going to stop recording, right?